To start our narrative unit, students first completed the assignment called Quick Story, which you see on the screen, and this is in Google Classroom. At the top of this assignment, you see the essential question that we've been talking about for the first few weeks of the school year, which is how does culture, background, experiences, and or choices shape your identity or impact your lived experiences? So in other words, how has something in your life shaped who you are today as a person? So part one, direction. Keeping in mind that essential question, we're going to practice free writing. You're going to pick one of the questions below and finish the sentence starters so you have a very short but complete story. However, your free write will turn into a narrative essay. So make sure to choose a topic that you can write about in a lot of detail. So it should be significant or meaningful. So think about a page and a half of writing detail. So these are the four questions. And again, you're only picking one. Number one, what's a story about how your culture, so your race, ethnicity, or religion, became important or noticeable in your life? Or number two, what's a story about how your background influenced who you are today? It could be a financial situation, a neighborhood you grew up in, your school, your family, pets, friends, any of those. Number three, what's a story about how an experience you had impacted or even changed who you are today? Or number four, what's a story about how a choice you made has had an impact on who you are today? So think about these four questions, and again, you're only choosing one, and you are going to write about and create a short story, but you want to choose one that you can write a lot of detail. So take a few minutes to think of that when we're done explaining this assignment. When you choose the number that you're going to write about, you're going to fill that in this blank here where it says, I am writing about question number. And then after that, you're going to start writing your short story. So you'll notice these sentence starters here. Think of these almost like the plot chart, but these are transitional phrases. So you're going to start with one time I, ... Finish this with the exposition of your story. And finish that sentence with the rising action. But that should be the climax. So this should be your falling action. And now I know this should be your resolution. So if you scroll down, I give you an example. So I am writing about question number 4, which if you remember, question 4 is what's a story about how a choice you made has had an impact on who you are today? Well, I'm going to write about a decision I made when I was 22 to drive while I was distracted. So I got into a car accident, which was my fault. And that's something that still impacts who I am today because I learned a lesson that lasts me a lifetime. So here's my short story. One time I was driving to a friend's house on a rainy night when I was 22 years old. And I was lost on the side road, so I needed to call for directions. But my phone was in my purse on the ground in front of the passenger seat. So I tried grabbing it while driving on a wet road and crashed into a gas post in the ground. I ended up closing the road down due to a broken gas line. And now I know that distracted driving is super dangerous and can hurt the lives of others, not just my own. So here I have a very short but complete story, beginning, middle, and end, and it has all the parts of the plot. So this is what you are going to do right up here. So after you think about a topic, you're going to create your story here in a few sentences. After you complete this section, you can scroll down to part 2. And this says, now that you started your story, you're going to go back right to where you were typing and add at least one more sentence of detail to each section. So it says at least one sentence more. So you could do several sentences. Because again, your topic is going to turn into a page and a half narrative essay. So the more detail you have now, the easier this will be for you later. It doesn't matter if you add your details before, in between, or after the sentences you have already created. But we want you to highlight the sentences that you added in yellow. So as you can see, we have the new sentence added here. We also have a new sentence added before a sentence starter, and I have sentences added between sentence starters. So you can read through my newly added essay. I'm not going to read it all right now, but you can read it. And everything that I highlighted in yellow is my new detail, and I added it to each section. Then after you do that, part 3 says you're going to go back to your story again, but this time you are going to decorate it with adjectives, just like we did in class last week. But you are going to insert 5 descriptive words, so 5 adjectives that can help provide the reader with more vivid imagery. So you're going to highlight these 5 words in blue. So again, you can read my example. I'm not going to read the whole story again. I went back, and where I thought that the reader might need more imagery, I added an adjective and I highlighted it in blue. So you can see the 5 that I added. So this final product right here is what you should have done by the end of this assignment. That you're typing all of yours at the top of this page right here. Let us know if you have any questions.